just the way users use the design of the site, and then go into specifics like the Florida LLC, because I'm curious.
The Florida LLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we weren't even set up as a company originally. I mean, just go to that first. You know, I just started the company with a couple of my friends at Harvard who I thought were really smart, but you know, we're kind of at different levels of commitment in terms of building a company. So when I eventually moved out to California, which ended up being a really important thing for Facebook, because when I was 19 at the time, and I just had like no idea what all the stuff that you needed to do to build a company, and Silicon Valley is such a good place for having just all the infrastructure that you need to build a company. But I know a lot of folks, you know, just didn't want to move out, and so a lot of the early founder group was kind of fractured like that. But I mean, I just didn't want to be involved in setting up the company part of it all. So basically, we had this guy Eduardo, who's a really smart guy. He taught one of the economics classes that I took at Harvard, and I just like remember interacting with him. Like, this guy is awesome, very very business savvy. He would be good to help set up a business. And what we did was, instead of setting up kind of the normal C Corp structure that everyone sets up out here, it's just kind of like the standard for building a company. He was from Florida, and he set us up as a Florida LLC. And it's just like, I don't even to this day know what all the things were that were wrong with that, except that as soon as I moved out here and met a lawyer, they were just like, all right, that's like number one to unwind. But I don't know, I mean, in the beginning we weren't even trying to, there was this thing where we weren't trying to make it as big as possible in the beginning. We wanted to see if it was something that really resonated with a lot of people and was going to provide a huge amount of value. So, you know, when you're starting a company, if you're thinking about how to market it, the typical thing that you want to do is go find the path of least resistance to getting people. And early on, we kind of chose the opposite path, right? After Harvard, and after a lot of people were using it, in the first couple of weeks, all these people started writing in and emailing to us that they wanted a version of this at their own schools. And instead of launching the schools that we thought that people would be the most receptive, what we wanted to do was launch it at the schools that we thought that people would be the least receptive, right? So we launched at Columbia and Stanford and Yale, and the reason why we thought that people might be the least receptive there was because they already had some kind of school community that basically was pretty ubiquitous at the school. At Columbia was this thing that a student wrote named CU Community. Stanford, I think, had this in-circle thing that, my understanding is, it was more of an alumni thing, but still a bunch of people use it. And Yale had something that the student government made that a lot of people used, but kind of loosely. And when we launched Facebook at those schools, and we saw that it took off really quickly, that's when we kind of knew that it was actually worth us spending all this time. And that's when my roommate Dustin joined me and all this. And then we spent the rest of our time at Harvard just basically trying to spread it to other schools.